Hey folks, how's it going? Thanks for checking the video out. I want to talk briefly about subscription models for plugins and then onto the more important juicy stuff, saturation. So my longest standing subscription is with Slate Digital. I've had their stuff, I don't even know how long, for maybe like 15 years. Have they done it that long? As long as the subscription has been in play, I've been doing it. Love it. Can't say enough good stuff about it. Virtual Mix Rack, fantastic. The Virtual Tape Machine, which we're going to look at, is one of my all-time favourite plugins. But I'm kind of trying to break free of subscription stuff at the moment. Those of you who know the channel, those of you who've seen me on other people's channels will know that I'm kind of affiliated with a few different companies. And I try and stay company agnostic as much as possible. But with these companies that I do stuff for, they're going to give me plugins. Of course they are, because I have to use them on videos. So therefore, with certain companies, I have stuff that I don't have to pay for, which is great. I love it. But I'm trying to break free that subscription thing. And Virtual Tape Machine is one of those plugins that I just don't feel I can currently let go. And I could buy it like outright and that's fine, but I don't know. It's a grey area. So what I want to do is a really unscientific comparison, and almost offensively unscientific comparison between Virtual Tape Machine and basically every other saturation plugin I've got on my system. Now, I'm really focusing on tape saturation stuff. I've kind of gone on to all the plugins I've got that have saturation in the title and just had a little look at them. Some have made it into the test, some haven't. And I just want to see what's what, because to me, Virtual Tape Machine, VTM, was always like the gold standard, and it goes in every mix. But going through some of these plugins as I have been today, well, I don't know. There's some other stuff there that really does stand up against it. So this is, I guess, Virtual Tape Machine versus every other saturation plugin I've got. Loads of them have different features. They've got far more features than Virtual Tape Machine in some instances. Just want to have a look at them, see what's going on, and see if I can kind of come up with a new favorite saturation plugin. And I want to do that with you guys. So let's check it out. So here's what's going on. I've got Virtual Tape Machine on this channel, VTM it's called, and then this one is a load of other ones. So just to kind of give you the rundown, I've got the Kiive audio, the tape face, which I love. I've got Chow, let me press this. I've got Chow tape, which is like a free one, which is really, really good, like stupidly good for free. I've then got Ozone 11 vintage tape, which I typically use Ozone 11 as like the mothership, as a bit of everything, but I'm starting to kind of break off and using just little bits of stuff in little places, and I like this a lot. It's great. Then I've got Loop Trotter from, no, sorry, it's called Saturate 2 from Loop Trotter. That's one of the Plugin Alliance ones. I've heard a lot of great things said about this, and you're going to hear me say some good things about this as well, because it is cool. Then I've got Rabbit Tape, a bit of a wild card from Safari Pedals. You'll know that I do stuff for Safari Pedals, and I like this, but it's completely different than any of the ones. So we're going to take a look at that. Then we've got one that I don't know how to say, LTL. Is it Little Silver Bullet? LTL Silver Bullet? Whatever. It's the Mark II version, whatever it is. Oh, Louder Than Liftoff. There you go. LTL, Louder Than Liftoff, Silver Bullet. This was a new one to me. Never opened it in my life until I opened it for this, and it's cool. It's great. Then the Oven, which is a Brainworks one. I can't say this name, so I'm not going to. And not that I can't say it for any reason other than I can't pronounce it. Not going to try, but it's a mastering thing, and it's cool. It's based around like different types of heating up the sound, as they say, you know, saturation. I'd opened this about once or twice before and turned some knobs and thought, okay, that sounds really cool, and then closed it and then never opened it again. And that's the thing, I tend to stick with what I know, and it's bad and I shouldn't do it and I should be open to other stuff, but hey ho, what are you going to do? So this is Virtual Tape Machine. These are my bog standard settings. This is what I have as my default. So input and output straight up the middle. I have on settings, I have the, typically I have the noise reduction. I don't know what the default is. I have it on there, -24, whatever that means, just to get rid of it a little bit. These are kind of my settings. I have the bias on normal, speed at 30, tape type I have down to FG9, and then I have it on the 2-track tape machine. This is because I typically use it as a master thing, like I'm a master output. If I was using it on every track, I'd probably go to 16 track, but I don't like to do that. So here we go. Let's take a listen to it versus Kiive tape to start off with. Now I'm just going to, essentially when you see mute on this one, you're going to be hearing VTM. And then when I press solo on this one, it's going to flick over to whatever I've got on this channel. So that would be VTM. that would be on tape face. I'm not going to maybe have them all on the screen at the same time because that would be overkill. Right, first off, let's hear VTM, and then we'll take a listen to Kiive tape face and go through them. I don't know if Kiive is how you say it. I hope it is because I've said that word a lot, but we'll find out. Okay, so to me, VTM keeps the transients a little bit more. It's maybe a little bit duller. I've kind of played around with this a little bit, trying to match the outputs and all that kind of stuff, but there's so many settings you can have on this. You can have different tape types, which change the colors, which is cool. And then a kind of a saturation knob. On VTM, you don't have that. You just have input and output. So let's just mess around with this a little bit and see if we can get something that's objectively, oh, sorry, it's not objective, subjectively better to my ear. Loads more high end on tape type 1, the red one. Then this one, the second one, seems a little mid-rangey to me, and this one seems a little bassier. I don't know if that's what it's meant to be, but that's what it sounds like to me. Okay, so my main kind of takeaway from this one is that it's really, you can really change stuff on it. I know that on Virtual Tape Machine, you can change the tape types, you can change the speed. But for me, it was like, these are the settings that I use, and I kind of want to just see if I can get something that sounds better. This is, to me, this is the gold standard for VTM. Like, this is just what I use, this is what I like, so I want to get something that sounds better. To me, you've got so many more controls on here. You've got oversampling. I've never really looked at oversampling before. I'm not going to bother now. But I don't know if Virtual Tape Machine's actually got oversampling, or maybe it's just kind of implied. Maybe it's just there as standard settings. Have got anything here? Split sticks? No oversampling. I would assume it's maybe got it as standard anyway, but who knows. So Kiive tape face, sorry, to me is a massive thumbs up. I think it's great, and it's got a load of different controls in it. The bass boost can be kind of hard to rein in sometimes, and it can give you a little bit too much. I tend to mix quite kick heavy, and I probably shouldn't, because I then go to master and put it in a new session and have to bring it down, but that's just me. To me, I like it with bass boost, or sorry, low boost off. Saturation you can really crank, but I like to just kind of keep it where it is. To me, Kiive tape face is a great one. And does it sound better than VTM? It sounds different, I'll give you that. But I could happily use that. I think it is a great one. Let's have a look at the, what is it, Chow tape model DSP by Chow DSP. I don't know which of those is like the main title, so I'm just going to say Chow. Let's take a listen to it. Already quite bass heavy compared to VTM. Okay, now with this, you've got, well, look at all these settings. Now, I personally don't know what spacing in microns means, but I think if you hover over stuff, it does kind of tell you. Yeah, so saturation, it will tell you. Spacing sets the spacing between the tape and the playhead. Larger spacing means more high frequency signal is lost during playback. You see, this is one of those things. I love having controls on plugins. I love having stuff that you can change and that you can mess around with. But to me, a tape saturation plugin is very much set and forget. And this one has got to win the award for, especially in a free plugin, the most controls that you can jump into and you can really go crazy with. To me, that's not what I'm after. It's got oversampling, which is great. I do like the sound of it though. I do think it crunches up really nicely, and as you mess around with these ones, basically the drive, the saturation, the bias, you can really get super crunchy, or you can get more aggressive, less aggressive, and tone is going to help you with that as well. Let's see if we can kind of match VTM a little bit more. Maybe a little more mid-range heavy. I can't say for absolute certain, but like having this for free for a start is so good. I would say that this one sounds closer to VTM if I'm using that VTM as a gold standard. But I would have said that the flexibility in Kiive is kind of a little more obvious. You have the tape types, you have the inch per second, you have saturation, and that's a bit more familiar to me when I'm dealing with, you know, tape saturation plugins. So I would maybe use that one over this, but only because I don't understand this one. I don't understand what all this stuff means, even though it explains it to me. Like, I don't have something that I can just relate that to. I've worked on a 2-inch tape machine before, years ago, and I didn't do any of this. It was just like load the tape up, hit record. Sounds good, doesn't it? So to me, there are people out there who will be far more familiar with this stuff than I am. The sound of this, when I just load it up, is brilliant and is great. The amount of controls you have on it has got to be a good thing, because if I had the time to delve into it, I'm sure I'd absolutely love it. So again, this gets a thumbs up in the same way as Kiive does, but Kiive is kind of a bit more intuitive for me. Now let's move on to the Ozone one. This is one of those, I guess, lesser known plugins in the Ozone stuff, because I'm not sure it comes up when you do the Master Assistant kind of thing. I will say that Master Assistant, I do like that. I do like what it gives me. I tend to tweak it afterwards, but for me, it's a great kicking off point, and I do like it, but that's not what this video is about. So let's take a listen to Ozone. We're at 30 IPS again. I've kind of manipulated this a little bit, and let's have a listen. So VTM first, and then Ozone. Again, pretty similar, but in terms of features, I feel like you're a little bit spoilt here with the Delta, because you can take a listen to what's being added or what's being taken away, I guess you could say, the difference. And having the harmonic excitement, or it's just harmonics, isn't it? It's not exciting harmonics necessarily. And having low and high emphasis, you can manipulate this in a lot of ways. You can get dirty with this thing as well. Yeah, so this one, because I've got the high emphasis up, we've got a lot of high-end information. It's not like sizzly high-end information, it's just saturated high-end stuff. And to me, it sounds like it's a little higher than the mid-rangey stuff in VTM. I said this was unscientific, didn't I? I don't know. I do like this. I do like what it adds, and I feel like it's quite subtle though. With VTM, like if you just go into it, then it's very clear when you turn this up that you're getting aggressive. Like it crunches up in a really nice way and in a really obvious way, and I feel like that one knob thing when they're linked is a great way of doing that. And I rarely go into the red on this because I feel like it does break up pretty easily. This one can get super aggressive, but just kind of does it in a different way. It gets more aggressive if anything, but you do have that nice range in the middle where you can manipulate stuff and make it so it's a little sparklier, a little more bassy. I like Ozone in terms of the general mothership. I think it's great. I do like this, and I think it's kind of overlooked. I want to take a look at this one because this, I don't know if this is actually based on tape 100%. I think it probably is, but I don't know. And you have so much, again, you've got so much you can deal with. There's just so many controls that you can really, once you get to that point of saturation and you're kind of, for the want of a better word, distorting it, you can then manipulate that distortion in so many ways. And it's great. And I love this, the fact that you've got a control that says magic, because it is kind of magic. Let's just take a listen to the two compared first, VTM first, then saturate 2, I should say. And then we'll mess around with some stuff. It does sound good. It does sound very good. Just for reference, this is without VTM at all. This is the original mix, just nothing, and then we'll bring the saturation in. And that's what I like about VTM. It just gives it life. It just says, like, you've got a bit of a lifeless mix, let's just give it some oomph, and that's really great. But a lot of these others, now that I'm listening to them, are really sounding good. This one sounds like it's kind of adding a little bit in the top end as well. Let's use the power switch to turn it off and on again. That magic just makes me smile, because it's like, I can't be scientific about it because I don't know what it's doing, and arguably they don't really want you to know what it's doing because they're calling it magic, but it does just add this like elevation to the sound, and I love it. You can go overboard quite easily, but you know, that's the fun part. Yeah, so this to me is grabbing transients in a nice way. It's kind of, it's allowing the high-end transients to come through a little bit, but it's grabbing the mid-range transients and the low-end transients a little bit more. And I feel like there's so much you can do in this one. I love the way it looks. I really love the way it sounds. And I think this is maybe a bit of a, what's the word? It's a little bit, you can use it on many different things. There is a word for that, but I can't remember what it is. And I think having the different controls on there where you can really crunch stuff up or get something in the middle between crunchy and not very crunchy at all. The controls you've got on here give you so much eclectic. That's the word. It's eclectic. You can use it on many different things, and it gives you so much variety that this and Kiive are kind of two similar things to me, but they give you less control in the Kiive and more control in this, and different kinds of control. So I do like this. I think it's, yeah, it does a job to me. Rabbit tape. Now, this one's interesting because in my humble opinion, you guys will know that I'm affiliated with Safari. So I'm not going to say anything that is like, I'm not going to be biased with this. I'm going to say it exactly like it is. Rabbit tape to me, you can't think of in the same kind of bracket as a lot of the other ones. Most of all, you've got reel-to-reel and you've got cassette. Now, cassette gets really quite bright and reel-to-reel is really crunchy. Cassette can get crunchy as well, but reel-to-reel is to me, that's the one where I get the crunch from. Rabbit tape to me doesn't have the same amount of bottom end as the other ones do, because to me, when I'm looking for a tape saturator, VTM in particular gives me that bottom end. Rabbit tape doesn't do that. It does something completely different. Just have a little listen to it. So let's go VTM and then rabbit tape. It's completely different. It's almost like you can't compare that to another tape saturation plugin because it just stands out on its own, and it's got this real aggressive mid-range thing. And for what it's worth, I do like it. I think it's great, but it's just so different to the other ones. Having the wow and flutter, they're not really master things to me. They're about having the little bit of wow on maybe like a guitar track or something like that, and just adding those fluctuations in pitch. But having the grit control is useful because it's down low at the moment. Let's listen as we bring it up. You can just annihilate stuff. You can really smash stuff. That's where it really comes into play. You've got the blend control on all Safari plugins, and I like being able to bring this down and then just blend it in because it is aggressive, it is gritty, as it says, you know, and you can get that real mid-range, like guitar forward kind of sound. But to me, it's about getting it so that it sounds nicely aggressive and guitar forward, and then bringing the blend down and just bringing some of it in, because you get all the low end of the original and then you bring in a bit of that aggression. So you can see why I think of this in a completely different way than I think of a lot of other tape saturators. It 100% has its place, but to me, it's not a replacement for Virtual Tape Machine. It's more of a aggression box and more of a kind of a color and vibe thing. It doesn't closely model tape in the same way as I feel VTM does. It closely models a very specific tape, and a very specifically aggressive tape, and a very specifically aggressive cassette tape, and the cassette is going to be far more of an effect than the reel-to-reel is. I love it, it's great, it's aggressive, but to me it's in a completely different league than any of the other ones. So that being said, these two, the LTL that I've learned now, Loud and Lift Off, is really interesting, and the Ozone is just as interesting. I kind of think of these in a similar bracket, probably because they both are kind of a relatively similar kind of interface. But this one, I'll be the first to say I don't fully understand, because I haven't spent enough time with it. I've just opened it up. But to have it on the default settings, let's just have a look at it and listen. VTM first, and then this one. Yeah, this makes me do the face that I do when someone does a great guitar solo on stage, where, you know, that makes me happy in a kind of a ooh, cool kind of way. Straight off the bat, it's good. There's a load of controls in here as well, where you can add some air to it, add some low end, add some high end. Let's try out some low end, see what it sounds like. Yes, this is already quite a bassy mix, really, but you can go between body, bass, sub 1 and sub 2, sorry, sub 2 and sub 1, and I think that's just moving the frequency down as you go along. And this is probably, yeah, high frequencies. It's starting off really high, the sheen, then bright presence, and then down into the mid. So if we bring that up and bring this down, we're going to start to hear it accentuate lower and lower frequencies. That's interesting. Aspect ratio switch alters the relationship between width and height of the stereo image to give a more enhanced stereo image. Alters the relationship between width and height. So width obviously being left and right, height presumably being frequency. I don't know. That's interesting though. I'll have to look more into that. Homework for me. Yeah, I'm maybe making it a little bit too bright here, but I like that airband. That's cool. That's obviously it's cool, the same thing, but it reminds me of like the Marg EQ4 as well, but it's just adding some real top end. Again, we've got so much here that we can actually go through. I think if you hover over it, it does actually tell you what these A and N are. Please tell me what they are. There we go. Mojo selector, which Mojo amps processing, inactive Mojo amp controls are grayed out. Yeah, A and M amps may be cascaded for maximum Mojo. Is there ever a time when you do not want maximum Mojo? Minimum Mojo has no place in my studio. So let's try bringing them up then. I think this automatically brings the output down. Yes, big tick. You can have N going into A, so this one first, then this one, or A into N. Doesn't change that though. I would have thought that would change either way. And then it's going to grey it out if you don't have that engaged. Okay. Strange. I think it's my computer doing strange things. Whatever. So this one had a very small range from like here to there, where it went from nicely saturated to blah. Have a listen. Yeah, so anything like below here is kind of relatively similar. When you get to here, you start to hear it, and then when you get to there, it's like crazy. Is this one the same? Even more so. Is it because I've got this drive up? Yeah, okay, I like this. I don't understand it, but I like it. And this isn't one of those kind of nondescript plugins where you have controls that, although it tells you what it does, it doesn't tell you what it does. It doesn't tell you what that Mojo actually is. It's saturation of some sort, of course it is, but it doesn't actually tell you in exact words. Like the Chow one maybe gives you too much detail, and it's kind of expecting you to know what all these micron things are. I mean, I know what a micron is, but what the relationship is between that and music. So I guess what I'm saying is I'm never satisfied. I either think that something that gives you so much information is too much, and something that doesn't give you not enough information is not enough. Yeah, I'm strange like that. But I like this. I think it's great. I think the high-end stuff is cool. It adds some nice bite to it. I think that if you manipulate these, you can get something that's nice and saturated, but you can go overboard as well, and you can go crazy. Don't know what this is. Hitmaker 4000, obviously they're talking about me, definitely. Nope. Bitmaker 1200, vinyl saturation. Let's hit vinyl saturation. Press the button. Okay. I like it. It's cool. So this is obviously just changing the overall kind of the tonal curve and the way that it's actually attacking, I guess, the saturation. Oh god, there's so many words there. Right, so that's a 12-bit thing. I'm not even going to read them because I like them. I like it. I don't need to read them to know that I like this plugin. That's good. Cool. All right, let's go to the oven then. The last one. Stick it in the oven. Let's have a listen to it. Just normal. Turn it off and turn it on again, and then compare it. That sounds really similar to VTM. Maybe a little more top end. Okay, sorry, I was wrong. It doesn't sound that similar. It's got far more in the highs and mids. I always felt like VTM was a little bit mid-heavy, but listening to it in comparison to loads of these, it really isn't. It's like, it's the opposite. It's really bass heavy. low burn, mid burn, top burn. I think it's pretty obvious what they do. Cook, bake or broil, and electric or gas. Wow, that's very non-descriptive, but in a cool way. Let's just turn some knobs. The one thing that I do like about a lot of these Plugin Alliance plugins is that I think it's maybe just the Brainworks ones as opposed to Plugin Alliance as a collective. You get less or more headroom. You have that on the Nautilus EQ, which I really like. Essentially, if you bring it down, then it's going to crunch up sooner. So whether it's changing the point of headroom or whether it's changing the amount that's kind of going into it, I don't know. But you can get something that sounds amazing and nice and crunchy, and then just give yourself a little bit more headroom so that it's not distorting quite as much, which I think is great. Yeah, so as I bring that headroom up, it's affecting it kind of less, but I'm having to alter the output to make it all nice and A/B comparison-y. All right then, final thoughts. Well, Kiive tape I like. I don't know if I like it because it looks like a tape machine, and that's what I'm used to with VTM. That could be playing into it. That gets a big thumbs up from me. The Chow tape gets a big thumbs up, especially because it's free. I feel like there's so many controls on there that someone who's got time to dive into them and someone who knows what all this stuff means is going to have an absolute whale of a time. It still gets a big thumbs up because it sounds great, and that's kind of the main thing. The Ozone 11, again, it gets a thumbs up because I love it, because it's underused, I would say, and it's kind of subtle, but I like it for warming up a mix. The Loop Trotter, I'm just going to say for a start, all these get a thumbs up because they're all great. But I like the Loop Trotter one, the Saturate, because why do I like it? Well, I like the amount of control you have. I like the sound, first and foremost. I like that you can make it aggressive, but I like just turning it on at default settings and it just warms stuff up. And I think that's great. I know that is modeled off an actual real life hardware device as well, which I'd love to try out sometime. Rabbit tape. Again, it's a thumbs up, but it's a different thumb. It's not that thumb, it's that thumb, because it sits in a completely different camp. I can't think of this in the same way as I think of the other ones, because it does a completely different thing, but it does an excellent thing. And when you bring that blend down, you can really get a lot of control. You can get a lot of mid-range aggression. You can get a lot of focus, which people kind of romanticize the idea of tape. You do get tape that doesn't sound like you would imagine tape sounds, and you do get stuff that is really aggressive and really kind of mid-range forward, and that's to me what this is kind of emulating. The what does it stand for? Louder Than Liftoff. This was cool. This had a lot of Mojo, as it would suggest, rarely without Mojo, and you've got a lot of different controls on here again, which I can't say I've delved into, but I'd like to. But for me, as I've said, tape machines are just like, I want to shove it on and it sound better, and then when I take it off, I miss it. That's like my kind of ethos for tape machine stuff on the main output. The oven, this was cool. This was definitely crispy, and you can get less crispy or more crispy. I promise that next time I do a video including this, I'm going to tell you how you pronounce that, because currently I don't know, but I think they're quite famous. There you go. A very unscientific saturation comparison. I think they're all good. They're all good in different ways. The more controls doesn't necessarily make it better. For me personally, it gets to a certain point where I just get confused. But fewer controls, and I feel like I haven't got as much control as I need. VTM, I've said I kind of treat that as the gold standard, but if I had to choose one that's going to replace it, I do like that Kiive or like Saturate. One of those two probably, Kiive or Saturate. They're the ones that I can get closest to the sound of this with, and then go further and get a little bit more tone out of and play around a little bit more. Either way, let me know what your favorite saturation plugin is in the comments, and I'll see you again soon. Take care.